What's up, everybody? You already know who it is. It's DripGodDero, and I'm back at you guys with another banger. So, in today's video, man, we got to talk about this article that Bleacher Report just dropped. You already know if I'm bringing it to you that it's some heat. And hey, the title of this article is ranking the NBA's most underrated players of the last 5 years. So with that being said, we gotta talk about it. I do think that this will be a fire article, and hey, I haven't looking at it, or I haven't taken a look at it or anything. This all is new to me, just like it's new to you guys. And hey, without further ado, let's switch over and let's get right into it. Actually, before we do get into it, I want to thank you guys for all the support. We will be dropping a decent amount of videos this week, man. I know it's been kind of slow, but we gonna get back to it. We about to get back into the race. We about to go back to hustling hard. And hey, let's switch over and let's get into it. All right, so we all switched over, as you guys can see. And let me scroll down so that you guys can see that title, man. So y'all see the title. It says ranking the NBA's most underrated players of the last 5 years. So this is definitely an interesting title, and it should definitely be interesting to see which players actually make this list. Now, before we do actually get into it, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more. I want to give you guys a couple of underrated players that I think may be on the list. Now, just from the first photo, we did see Fred VanVleet, and more than likely, he will be on the list. So I guess I could put him at number 1. At number 2, I would say possibly a player that he actually played with in Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam, he doesn't get a lot of talk, in my honest opinion. People don't really talk about him too much. At number 3, I would probably say Paolo Banchero. I think that although he is starting to get his flowers now because he had a decent year last year, I do think that he's still very underrated. And the players that I'm bringing up, I'm just saying players that I feel like are stars but just haven't really got that much recognition. Just so you guys know. So if the players I say have big names, I'm saying them because, in my opinion, they are stars, but they just are being overlooked. Who else? Besides that, maybe Julius Randle a little bit. Although he has his flaws, I do think that he is still underrated. People don't really talk about him too much. So shout out to him. Man. Hey man, let's just get to it. Let's see who they got on this list. All right, and shout out to Grant Hughes, who actually wrote the article. But let's scroll to the actual player. We're not gonna read into this too much. Royce O'Neal with the Phoenix Suns. Yeah, he a solid, 3-and-D player, plays decent defense. So I could see him being on this list. He's more of a jack of all trades type of player. And let's read into it, man. We're not gonna read the whole thing. I know a lot of us have, short attention spans. So we're not gonna read the whole thing. I'm gonna just summarize what I see. So pretty much it's saying that he shot 38.2% from 3, which, like I said, he is a solid 3-and-D player. So that's definitely good, man. That's definitely good. Another thing they are noting is just his availability. It seems like he has been very available over the last 5 years. It says that he suited up for 374 games in the span of the last 5 years, which is great. The only other players that have did pretty much that is Buddy Hield and Mikal Bridges. So hey, that's definitely nice, man. Definitely nice. And hey, let's see what else they got. And like I said, pretty much a good 3-and-D. They pretty much saying exactly what I said, where it says a true 3-and-D wing. So hey, what you expect? And I agree, he's underrated, man. He's underrated. So let's scroll and continue on to see who else is on this list. Mike Conley. So yeah, Mike Conley, although he is getting up there in age, he still, I'll say one thing he provides greatly with is just his 3-point shot, because he is very efficient from three. And then, although he is a smaller guard, he does hustle out there. He's still a good passer too. And he just has a pretty good basketball IQ overall. So yeah, those are the things I like about Mike Conley. And let's see what they got to say about him. All right, and yeah, when he was back on the Memphis, of course he was underrated. So I do have to note that. But let's see what they got to say. It says it's true that Mike Conley finally shed the label of best player never to make an All-Star game in 2021. But let's not pretend that honor removed him from the list of the league's most underrated players. So yeah. Let's see what else they got, man. So pretty much they're saying it's just more so his leadership offensively and pretty much the team success wherever he goes. And I agree with that. That's one thing that goes along with basketball IQ. When you have a good basketball IQ, it usually brings success to pretty much any team you go to. Another player that you could pretty much give in comparison is Chris Paul. Pretty much every team that Chris Paul went to, they ended up being a better team. When he was on OKC for that 1 year, they ended up being a better team. When he was on the Phoenix Suns, they ended up being a better team. And me personally, I believe that's more so just because his basketball IQ and his just overall fit with those teams and professionalism. So shout out to Mike Conley. Let's see what else they got to say. So, like I was saying, great 3-point percentage. He shot 44% from three last year, and like I was saying, man, he definitely a sharpshooter from three, which is something that is great. So, shout out to him. Let's see what else they got to say. Let's see what the next player will be. Zubac from the LA Clippers. Yeah. I like Zubac a lot. He is a solid big, has actual size. It's a lot of big men out here who are like 6'9", and people think that they really are big men. But, Ivica Zubac, he is a legit big man. He is over 7 foot. He, when it comes to blocking shots, he plays well. He isn't too aggressive when he's trying to block shots. He usually just has his hand straight up like that, not trying to get a foul. And when it comes to him actually finishing on the inside, he's pretty good at that as well. I'll rate him as a lower budget Marc Gasol, just with less of the passing ability. But other than that, he was solid. He just solid, bro. Let's see what they got to say about him. All right, so pretty much they saying as a 19-year-old rookie in 2016-2017, the plodding 7-footer found himself surrounded by positionless wings and combo forwards masquerading as bigs. All right, let's see what else, man. We got to get to some stats. We got to get to some numbers, man. So they pretty much saying that he's quietly been one of the NBA's best centers ever since. He is a force at the rim who hasn't shot below 61% from the field in any of the last 5 seasons. That's definitely good. And then it says when it comes to the 3 to 10 footers, he's shot at 59%. So overall good, and I agree, man. He's a pretty good finisher. And then when it comes to his defense, in my opinion, he is solid defensively. Of course, he's not, the most lateral defender, but when it comes to putting his hands up, trying not to get a foul, going straight up when he's jumping for the block, he do that well, in my opinion. But let's scroll down and continue. Kyle Anderson, Golden State Warriors. Me, I'm not too much of a fan of Kyle Anderson, but that's just my opinion. But let's see what they got to say. All right, so it says over the last 5 years, Kyle Anderson has played a little over 8 minutes while posting a block rate of 2.6%. and a steal rate of 2.1%. So it seems like mostly it comes down to his defense, which he is a solid defender. So I will give him that right there. Let's see what else they gotta say, man. So pretty much they're putting him. So pretty much his defense and his block stats put him in conversation with other great defenders such as Draymond Green, OG Anunoby, and SGA. So that's definitely a nice group of names to be around when it comes to defense. So shout out to him on that. But other than that, let's see what else. So other than that, it doesn't seem like there's too much more to talk about with him. Let's see who else they got. Number one, Fred VanVleet. We all know what Fred VanVleet brings to the table. You know, he can create his own shot. When it comes to him being the, main ball handler, he knows how to pass. He knows how to assist. Of course, when he was on Toronto, his impact was kind of lessened due to them having Kyle Lowry, but once Kyle Lowry did get moved, we did see that Fred VanVleet is a pretty good player, man. He is very underrated, so shout out to them. And with the Houston Rockets, he still was very underrated. You have players like Jalen Green getting a little more shine than Fred VanVleet, even though Fred VanVleet played very well last year. So let's see what they got to say about him. All right, so pretty much they are saying, let's see, he's the only player in the last 5 years to make at least 900 threes and snag 500 steals, and Tyrese Halliburton is the only other player in that span to amass at least 2,000 assists with fewer than VanVleet's 652 turnovers. So overall, jack of all trades, plays tough defense, can hit the three, and overall can pass as decently well as well. So that's definitely good, and that's something we do know about Fred VanVleet. All right, so besides that, it doesn't look like they have too much crazy in regards to him. And hey, man, with that being said, what do you guys think about the players that were on this list? I definitely agree with them. Of course, the players I said at the beginning were more so, star level players, but I definitely agree with their argument for these different players. They are all underrated in their own way, and hey, I like the list. I like the list a lot. But if you enjoyed this video, you already know what to do. Like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the motherfucking channel, turn on notifications and all that good stuff, and I'm out. Peace.